For more on President Xi's trip to Switzerland, I'm joined now by CGTN's Wang Guang. And in Beijing, we have XIUDONG from the China Institute of International Studies. Welcome to you all. This is such an exciting visit, such an important visit, the first Chinese president. Tell us about the significance of this.
You know, Susan, when we're in a world of uncertainty, in the words of President Xi, he certainly wants to send several messages by going to Switzerland. First of all, he wants to say that despite all the worries about China protecting its domestic industries, its domestic subsidies, China is still a champion of free trade. And in fact, China has benefited from free trade. If you look at the data, 30 to 40% of China's GDP comes from trade. So China wants to continue to do that. When the Americans or Europeans buy less of made in China products and services, China suffers. So he wants to send a clear message that China is the champion of free trade and wants to push for the system to continue. And secondly, on climate change, very important issue. Donald Trump once said this in a tweet 3 years ago. He said, the concept of global warming was created by and for the Chinese in order to make U.S. manufacturing non-competitive. Obviously, China was up for the Paris climate change deal, and China wanted very much to look like a leader in this very respect of climate change.
All righty. Well, we're going to go to China now. And JIA, Switzerland was the first country, as you know, to set up a strategic partnership in Europe with China on innovation. And also the two share similar views on many international issues. How do you expect them to expand on their relationship?
China is the second biggest economy in the world, as a populous country, while Switzerland is a small country. However, both countries have found the common interest and share interest in promoting bilateral ties. And China, the people in China, the Chinese people really look to Switzerland as a country with very strong entrepreneurship, very strong innovation. And Switzerland has played a very significant role and in China's opening up and reform. We can remember that Switzerland was the first European country to recognize China's market economy status, the first European country to sign a free trade agreement with China. So the two countries have really share interests, and the two countries will use the visit by President Xi Jinping to expand their cooperation, especially, for example, in innovation, in energy, in trade. Certainly, they would like to upgrade their free trade agreement, using, taking advantage of this visit.
I see, Jia. Thank you. And so, Wang Guan, the Swiss president, Doris Leuthard, says Xi's visit was going to have a stabilizing effect on Europe at a time when Europe is very unstable. How do you see this?
Well, I think Switzerland is very important for China in many senses of the word. First of all, Switzerland was among the first European Western countries to recognize PR China back in 1950. China and Switzerland have a free trade agreement signed 4 years ago. As China and U.S. are trying so hard to nail down their BIT, Bilateral Investment Treaty, China would very much like the rest of the Western world to see, look, China and Switzerland could have a free trade agreement. Why cannot China have it with the rest of the Western world? And also, by going to Switzerland, which is the seat of the United Nations in Geneva, I think President Xi wants to send a message that says China believes in multilateralism. China's it contributes to UN peacekeeping missions. Has the largest number of contribution in terms of troops. It ranks second in terms of its contribution to the budget. So it wants to say to the world that it very much believes in multilateralism instead of unilateralism.
And I think this is very important this week as Donald Trump is getting ready to be elected president in the United States, that he is actually going to be, Xi is going to be in Geneva. And this sends a strong message to him, given the tension between the two.
You know what Donald Trump once said? He said, United Nations is just a club of people to have a good time. So obviously he may not believe in the United Nations, this institution, as much as China does. So it will be interesting to see if China will, President Xi will meet with the transition team from the Trump campaign.
And Jia, let me ask you, as President Xi is in Davos, he says that China will continue to be a country that will attract foreign investment, and this forum is going to actually showcase this. Does this sort of up China's standing even more in the world, this visit? And will more people be attracted to China because of this visit?
You know, President Xi's trip to Davos and speech in Davos to the World Economic Forum is really about globalization. It's about free trade, and it's about the interaction between China and the world. So this is a very important platform for China and for President Xi Jinping, as he's the first Chinese president to attend the World Economic Forum. Certainly he will, share with the audience and the world that China is still, a champion now for globalization. China benefits from globalization, and China aware that yes, there are downsides and to the globalization, and some countries face very strong challenges as a result of globalization. However, the trend of globalization will go on, and the countries should work together to address some of the problems that come with globalization, but we should not disregard globalization. And so China will certainly, President Xi will use the opportunity to talk about the status or the situation of Chinese economy, and try to share Chinese experiences of how to face up to the challenges. And the Chinese is now engaging in profound transformation and reforms, and also is facing challenges, difficulties, many problems domestically. However, China is still welcoming free trade and expand its trade with other countries, and certainly China will contribute to with more international public goods like investment, like institutions, and China will not shut up its border with other, with the outside world.
Well, XIUDONG, always wonderful to see you, and thank you for your time joining us live from Beijing. And Wang Guang, thanks for your insight.
Anytime.
Good to have you.